All right, we're here with Elko County Commissioner Delmo Andreozzi following the informational meeting with Dr. Deborah Birx of the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Delmo, give your thoughts and takeaways from the meeting with her, and what do you think some of the most productive areas of the discussions were?
First of all, I really want to thank a high-ranking individual such as, and she's an ambassador as well, and a great deal of experience in world issues with this all over the world. She talked about a lot of her experience, so it was very nice to have her come all the way to Elko, and it's my understanding she's been traveling all across the United States and meeting with the COVID teams, and she requested to meet with us as well. And I think it was a really useful meeting, kind of talking about a snapshot about, kind of how things are progressing with the spread of the coronavirus and some of those issues, really get down to a really granular level where we could talk about, sharing information and how, some things are communicated and the way those are communicated out, and how that there can be some confusion. And so it was just a very, very good dialogue, about all of that and how this, what's been happening with the disease, what's going on now, and the development of a vaccine and the rollout of that vaccine. Those are all good things. And another resource that's coming available is a Biomax, Abbott Biomax. It's a quick test. You just put it on you just grab some saliva, I believe she said, and put it on the card, and in 10 minutes you'll have those results. So the turnaround time for us in terms of managing this has been very, very challenging. And there's a lot of mixed emotions about whether or not the masks help and stuff like that, and a lot of different ideas behind all of that. And we had a nice discussion about that. And a lot of people choose not to wear a mask, and we've been, we've kind of told people what the best practices are, but haven't really necessarily, created laws to make people do that. But what she was talking about is the person, when they wear a mask, basically what it does is it protects them from spreading their germs out to other people, as opposed to protecting yourself. So that's really the purpose of it. And then when she talked about the vaccine, that's really then really an appropriate individual time where you would, if you don't want to take the vaccine, then that's your decision. This is the what they're kind of finding, and it's some of the trends that we're seeing here, is that there's this community spread that's taking place. It's really not necessarily happening in the retail areas or in the restaurants or any of those other, the industrial areas, where people work. But it's happening outside of that. It's these social get-togethers. Everybody lets their guard down, and it's that asymptomatic spread. And so, we're kind of seeing this uptick, and we're kind of seeing some, increased cases, and nobody knows what the long-term effects of this are. We do know that a lot of people have recovered, which we're grateful for, and so it was really good, because we were able to talk about a variety of different things. I think we have a lot of takeaways that we have from this, but it's really about that dialogue about how they can, because when information gets distributed out, like there's credibility issues, you're right, because maybe it's not explained in a way that people understand, or that it's conflicting information, or whatever that is. So that was really helpful. And then also with these tests, the way they're being distributed, to make sure that Elko County gets our proportionate share, make sure that linkage is happening, so that we have access to those tests, so that we can best manage this. So we talked about the PPE, and how a lot of this PPE is made overseas, and how that's vulnerable to us as a population, not having control over masks and gowns and nitrile gloves and things of that nature. So, and talked about the stockpile, the national stockpile that's out there. So it was very good to have her here. We appreciate her traveling. She came here from Idaho. She's headed to Utah now. So just bouncing back and forth, just trying to reach out and kind of see what's happening in that particular area. And it's really part of that communication. So, You know, and that's what I would say is the biggest thing, is the fact that they took time to come out and listen to us, and then actually had some information. So that's great communication. So I appreciate her being here.
All right, thank you. As far as, say, the vaccine or the new test that takes 10 minutes, did she have a time frame for like when those tests would be readily available, and what kind of numbers are we talking as far as getting those out to areas, specifically Elko?
Well, those tests are supposed to be, there's a portion of those tests that are supposed to be in the state of Nevada now. Senator Gogashia was here, and based off of what he said, I believe he said there was 890,000 or 980,000 of those tests that are being shipped to Nevada. So again, we want to make sure that we get our proportional share, that they are either here or they're in transit. The vaccine rollout, again, they're talking about 100 million vaccines for frontline people and the highest vulnerable folks. So that would be the first part through this winter time, and then that second batch, they need to produce another 150 million vaccines. And that was the other thing, is the explanation that she had about how that vaccine was. They were way ahead of that curve on the vaccine, and that's really, they didn't cut any corners or anything like that to develop the vaccine. There's a lot of confidence in the vaccine going forward. So looking for, and again, it's about getting good, accurate information to people when those things are available, and how people can access them, because certainly there are going to be people that have concerns about wanting to be vaccinated as well. So we just need to make sure we have good, accurate information for people to make decisions.
All right, thank you, Delmo.
You bet, thanks.